Hey guys, good evening. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. It is a Monday evening and it's August 11th, 2025, and just kicking around 9:45 in the evening here tonight in New Jersey. So great to have you with me. If you're new here, I do want to say welcome and thank you for coming. If you're coming back, when it's the first time of the million time, I do want to say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for making this content a viable part of your life. All right, guys, if you're thirsty, feel free to go grab yourself something to drink. I have my RO water here, which is so refreshingly cool. And if you want a snack, you can get that, whether it's sweet, whether it's tart, whether it's healthy or not, fruit, nuts, whatever it is. Go ahead and get that and come on back. And do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. That is after the show. In case you're wondering what that master topic for the week is, I'm going to let you know. It's the power of story, exploring people, ideas, and events that shape us. And the granular for tonight, guys, in case you're wondering, well, that is Culture in Motion, Series 4, Show 33, Episode number 3. And so, again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to extend a very big warm welcome to everyone to Inspirations for Your Life, the podcast where purpose meets passion and culture, well, really comes alive. Hosted by myself, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, motivational keynote speaker, engineer, graduate student, video producer, and much more. I'm also a podcast coach, and I'm going to help us dive deep into what moves societies, what ignites creativity, and connects communities across the globe. In today's episode of Culture in Motion, today we're exploring how tradition and innovation intertwine to shape our world. Get ready, everyone, for the vibrant conversations artistic insights can bring to our lives and the real world inspiration that will fuel your mind and energize your spirits. So, our first point is culture is never static. It's living, breathing forces in our lives. From the rhythm of ancient dance to the pulse of modern tech, culture connects our past with our future. In this episode, I invite you to explore how creativity, tradition, and community are all part of, well, a larger, cultural evolution. Whether you're an artist, a leader, or a curious soul, this journey into cultural motion will inspire you to embrace change while honoring roots. All right, guys, really important here. So, the first one is cultural fusion. Culture today is an ever evolving mosaic of, well, amazing ideas, practices, and expressions. When diverse cultures meet, something magical just sort of happens. New perspectives emerge, and innovation thrives. This fusion isn't just seen in food or in fashion, it's felt in music, design, language, and even how we think. By embracing cultural fusion, we learn to celebrate difference while building something entirely new. And I think that's important for everyone here. Number two, guys, tradition meets modern. So there's beauty in tradition, but also power and progress. Many creators and communities are now finding ways to blend ancient customs with modern tools. Whether it's digital storytelling rooted in folklore or traditional crafts reimagined through technology. This intersection keeps culture relevant and resilient. It's about carrying the past forward without being trapped by it. Number three, guys, artist spotlights. Artists are often the heartbeat of culture evolution. This episode shines a light on creators, whether you're a video producer like myself, whether you're a painter, a singer. We all help bridge these worlds and telling ancestral stories in futuristic ways, using the platforms to inspire and to educate others. These voices often come to us more than an aesthetic appeal, but they help shape our cultural consciousness. And you know what they do? They challenge us to see the world through new lenses. So, number four, guys, global influences. In our interconnected world, borders blur us, and so does culture sometimes. From K to pop to African beats, from Latin street art to Eastern spiritual practices, global influences shape what we consume, value, and express. This cultural exchange opens doors to empathy, collaboration, and global unity while reminding us how interconnected we truly are. All right. That's important. Community voices. Culture lives and breathes in communities. Local stories, neighborhood events, and grassroots movements all contribute to the cultural narrative. When we uplift these voices, we empower people to define and redefine and reclaim their identities. Community driven culture ensures that representation is authentic, it's not just curated. Number six, tech and culture. Whether we're talking about AI generated art to virtual museums, technology is reshaping how we experience culture. But tech isn't just a tool, guys, it's a cultural force in itself. It challenges traditional norms, redefines accessibility, and gives marginalized voices platforms like never before possible. Embracing tech means expanding the reach and impact of cultural storytelling. Number seven, dance and movement. Dance is more than entertainment, it's storytelling through motion. It connects body, mind, and heritage. Access cultures, dance preserves history, expresses emotion, and it unites people from all around the globe. Whether it's ballet, hip hop, or indigenous rituals, movement transcends language and it becomes a universal cultural connection that we all can share. The youth perspective. Today's youth aren't just inheriting culture, they're actively shaping it with tools like social media and global networks. Young people are remixing traditions, creating new norms, and challenging outdated narratives. Their fresh perspectives fuel innovation and keep culture vibrant, diverse, and dynamic. Number nine, resilience and identity. Culture is a source of strength. In times of conflict or crisis, people often turn to their cultural roots for comfort, identity, and resilience. This connection can help rebuild communities, help trauma, and preserve dignity. Our shared stories and practices become shields and sources of hope for all. Number 10, call to engage. Culture isn't something we watch, it's something we do, it's something we're part of. Engaging with your local community, supporting cultural events, and listening to stories that aren't your own, well, whether you're sharing your own heritage or learning from another, being an active participant in cultural exchange is something very, very important. And making you a powerful part of motion. And I think that's a big part that many people don't realize is that we have to be part of the action. But sometimes people, they just don't get the action. Why? It could be a lot of reasons. And I know you're probably saying to me, John, sometimes this makes sense to me and sometimes it doesn't. And I want to tell you that everything makes sense, but you have to look at things a different way. Um, a great person of our time, he's not with us anymore, Dr. Dwayne Dyer, who learned from his a mentor, which was Patanjali's. And he said, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. There's a lot of truth in that, guys. A lot of truth. I think what we can get out of it is that our perception of the world, okay, our perception of the world right now is very, very important for everyone to understand. And maybe you're saying to me, John, I don't get why that is that way. And I want to tell you that it's because of your perception. I mean, that's the honest truth. Here's the part of the show, guys, I really like a lot. Well, I like the whole show, but I really love this part. So I'm going to give you basically a personal story or lesson in my life, um, one for each point. And it's my hope that it will help you to understand where I'm coming from. All right. And get you to maybe resonate more with possibilities, with changes in your life, right? I think that's a very big thing. But sometimes people don't change because, well, they don't want to. They don't want to. So if somebody doesn't want to do something, we can't force them to do it, right? But change is something many people don't like. And I think when we hear the word change, it's like we go to a tailspin, like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to react? What am I going to say? Like, what is this about? And I think that's a very important thing for everyone. But if you don't understand what something's about, how can you embrace it? How can you understand where it's coming from? Because when we get things in different cultures, we've learned that some of these things, guys, I mean, they're really, really complicated. I mean, I'm talking about really, really complicated. So let's dive in, okay, with my very first story. And you guys are going to love this story. So, culture infusion. I grew up in a household where my grandmother on my mom's side made basically pierogies from scratch with certain music playing in the background. Our family dinners were a mix of pierogies, Italian food, dumplings, and of course the Italian side too, and American burgers, and an unspoken tribute to our multicultural lives. It wasn't until I got older that I realized how rare and beautiful that blend in our family really was. Insight: cultural fusion is like jazz, improvisation, unexpected richness, and deeply, well, being human. What started in my kitchen has expanded into how I collaborate as an adult today. I design projects with teams from across the globe, and our best ideas emerge when our differences collide. Creativity, cultural fusion isn't a buzzword anymore, it's a blueprint and a standard for a way of innovation, guys. It's a way of innovation. And I think that's something that a lot of people like don't realize, but I'm here to tell you that this is something that you need to embrace. It's something you need to know. Tradition meets modernness. My grandmother taught me how to actually um, make cookies, and we did it the old-fashioned way, without using fancy mixers. We did it all by hand. Years later, I now use a KitchenAid machine, and I'm able to mix these things in an amazing, quick way, and do this and really remember a tribute to her. When I showed people on my phone what I was making, like, oh my gosh, can I taste one? They couldn't taste it through the phone, but they like wanted it so bad. It looks just like perfect, they said. I can't wait to try it. The moment here taught me that preservation, guys, tradition doesn't mean rejecting technology. It means translating essence across tools. By honoring what came before while embracing what's now, we keep our heritage alive in new, powerful ways. It's not either or, it's an evolution, it's a combination of things. Artist spotlights. I once attended a spoken word event where young men performed a poem in two languages, a father's native Arabic and his own English language. I didn't understand every word, but I felt every beat. His voice shook the room, not with volume, but with honesty. The insight: artists don't just reflect culture, they reshape it. When creators bridge ancestral memory with modern expressions, they challenge us to widen our lens. They're the quiet revolutionaries, painting the future with strokes of the past. Supporting them isn't charity, it's cultural investment. Global influences. Well, during a trip overseas, I stumbled upon a jazz bar playing some really cool mixes. The bartender, a Japanese man with a deep love for filakati, served Nigerian inspired cocktails while wearing a Miles Davis t shirt. It wasn't fusion, it was fluent. Culture isn't confined by geography, it's a rhythm that travels through hearts, screens, and airwaves. Global influence expands not just our tastes, but our empathy. The more we immerse ourselves in diverse expressions, the more we become, okay, citizens of the world and stewards of unity. So, community voice. When our neighborhood park was about to be turned into a parking lot, a group of concerned citizens organized a storytelling circle. They gathered people from all ages and elders and strangers to share what the park meant to them. And their stories swayed the council. The park now still stands today. Culture isn't just made by big institutions, it's kept alive in local voices. When communities share their stories, they claim power. Uplifting these voices isn't about charity, it's about balance. It ensures that culture reflects everyone, not just those with the loudest mic. Tech and culture. A friend of mine used AI to completely build a lullaby for her late mother and had started writing in a notebook. The app filled in the melody, but it was her voice that brought it to life. She sang it to her daughter as a bridge between generations. Technology isn't replacing tradition, folks, it's reinterpreting it. It's a new paintbrush on an old canvas. From digitized archives to AR museum tours, tech gives history new oxygen and, guys, in the hands of marginalized voices. It's not just innovative, it's revolutionary. And I think that's a very, very important thing. Dance and movement. I once saw a break dancer, well, many times, but perform in a wheelchair at a street festival. His movement was sharp, fluid, and completely magnetic. The crowd didn't see disability, they saw power, rhythm, and resilience. Dance is living memory, whether it's performed in a grand theater or on cracked pavement. It's one of the most primal ways we connect. Movement breaks barriers of language, of bias, of self. In dance, we just tell stories, we embody them together. The youth perspective. A high school student in my community started a TikTok series teaching Indigenous history from his tribe's perspective. What began as a side project turned into a platform with millions of views. His voice ignited conversations, and our textbook had ignored them. Youth aren't waiting for permission, they're reclaiming the narrative. Their energy, creativity, and clarity strip away performance, culture, and demand. Something very real. Listening to them doesn't just keep culture fresh, folks, it keeps it honest. Resiliency and identity. After a hate crime struck a local place of worship, the community, with a cultural that is festival, um, food, music, dance, and all expressions of resilience. Their message was clear. You cannot erase identity with fear. And I think that's important to know. Culture is armor. When everything feels broken, it's often our rituals, languages, and shared memories that hold us together. Resilience is born not just in surviving hardship, but in refusing to let it define us. In culture, we find not just who we are, but how we choose to rise. Number 10, call to engage. I once volunteered at a cultural storytelling night at a local cafe. I expected to listen quietly. Instead, someone handed me the mic. I shared a childhood story about Sunday meals and ended up connecting with a stranger who had a similar ritual, half a world away. See, culture, folks, doesn't need spectators. It needs participants. When you show up, you share, you listen, and you celebrate, you don't just witness culture, you become part of it. Whether it's buying art from a local creator, joining a community circle, or just asking someone, what's your story? Engagement is the spark that keeps the flame alive. I remember starting a new podcast, actually a new TikTok channel, and has a couple hundred people. And the one person on this channel said to me, dude, there's only a couple people watching. I said, it doesn't matter to me how many people are watching. What matters is that there's just one more person that's going to hear my voice, going to hear my story. And it's you that's going to get more people to connect. I think culture and motion has always been a challenging point. Not because it's difficult, but because there is a confusion between what's said and what's not said, between what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Because we all know in different cultures, things happen. Life is dynamic, right? And discovering our culture really helps shape who we are and who we're becoming. Turning your workspace, home, and your heart into hubs of creativity, engagement, and culture celebration. That's what life's all about, guys. Life is about creating your music, creating your story. You don't have to paint, you don't have to sing. You could do a million different things to express what you are, what you're becoming. And I think whether I'm talking to somebody that's just across the street from me, a neighbor, or I'm talking to somebody across the globe, which I could be right now, I think what's important to me about culture and motion is that what I used to believe about culture is that we learn it and it stays there. So, for example, in Italy, there are a lot of culture customs. Like there's one called the passeggiata, where what they do is at lunchtime. I don't know if they still do this. They'd close their stores, and the husbands would come home from work at around 11, 12 o'clock for an hour, and they'd have lunch, be like a dinner. After that, they'd rest a little bit. And I think they went back to work. It was like around 2 o'clock. So it would they'd close at like 11 or 12. They'd have lunch or dinner from 12 to 1. And then from 1 to 2, they would kind of rest. By 2 o'clock, they'd go back to work. And so I just thought that was something then. But what I've learned is that culture is something that I can appreciate today. Do you have certain cultural rituals that you can put into motion, that you can maybe take and maybe add something to? Because culture is not just meant to be stagnant. It's not meant to just repeat the past. It's meant to take that as a stepping stone. And with that stepping stone, we could take that beautiful canvas that's been created and we can add on to it, right? Make it even more beautiful. And when we do that, our language connects, our emotions connect. And guess what? We connect with more people that want to hear the story of the past and they want to hear the story of today. Our life is all about stories. And people love to hear a story. They love to be part of something. And if you start realizing that your culture is probably one of the most valuable things you have, and you choose to embrace it, you choose to learn from it, learn from your father's side, your mother's side, or what have you, learn from all your family, learn from different parts of your family. And when you do this, guys, what I'm going to tell you is, well, you're going to have something pretty amazing. And that amazingness is going to change, well, it's going to change who you are. And I hope that that's going to make life, I'm going to say, pretty valuable for you. But I think it's also going to make you realize that there is so much you don't know about this world. And it's not meant to scare you. It's meant to give you a shock value to say, you know what? This world's pretty darn amazing. I didn't know about that. I didn't know we did that. I didn't know that grandma was on a bread line. So I'll kind of end with the story. I think this is a great story to kind of end on. What was a bread line? So a bread line was a place where people waited often for hours to receive free food, typically bread or soup during times of economic hardship. They call it the Depression. Bread lines became especially well known during the Great Depression in the 1930s in the United States, when millions of people lost their jobs, homes, and savings. With no money for food, many relied on charity kitchens, churches, or government assistance programs just to survive. People would line up, sometimes blocks long, for a simple meal. These lines were often humiliating and heartbreaking symbols of poverty, but also powerful examples of human resilience and community support. Breadlines symbolize the struggles of ordinary people during major economic crises, and they serve as a reminder of the importance of social safety nets and community support systems. They become a visual icon in documentaries, photographs, and literature describing the Great Depression. But I think if we can understand right now that where we are today is not where we have to be, we can change where we are by just changing our mindset. And I don't want to tell you it happens overnight, but when you start to feel the way you want to be, your surroundings adapt to that. When you start to realize what a culture is, that could be things like, one thing I really love is going to the Oktoberfest. My grandmother on my father's side introduced me to that. I love going to Oktoberfest. In fact, I still go today. They're pretty amazing and they're very powerful. And I get to relive the wonderful dinner that I would have with my grandmother. And then things like potato pancakes. They would have bratwurst and Wiener Schnitzel and all kinds of things. They'd have pretzels, the kind, the thick kind pretzels with mustard and stuff. So I think when we start to choose to embrace our culture, we learn more about our diversity. But when we learn about our diversity, that's not something I feel that's going to separate us, but something that's actually going to unite us, because we unite not because we're the same. You're uniting because we're different. And I know that's something we don't hear a lot. We hear that we attract because we're the same. But when we're different, the differences can bring us together. And I think that's one of the most powerful things I want to say tonight about culture in motion. Embrace what your culture was. Learn about it, study it, and then figure out, how can I add on to that cultural tradition? How can I pass it on? How can I get people excited about a tradition that was started back from my great grandmothers or grandmothers or what have you, and then add or make a little change to that? You know, even things like the Christmas tree, and other religions have things like the menorah, and like the other thing, like we have the wreath and stuff like that. So when we embrace these things, it defines who we are, and it also opens up the possibility of where we can go. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you guys here on the amazing Inspirations for Your Life show. Do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. I'll catch you real soon, everyone. And remember, start embracing your culture. You've been missing out on it for a long time.